Muchos de ustedes me preguntaron que si a dónde y con quién me fui a estudiar Tantra. Que si qué hice en Bali, que si de qué trata, de qué maestro o qué maestra escogí y por qué escogí. Y en este episodio tengo el enorme honor de tener a una máster tántrica de este nivel, que es mi maestra de Tantra. Ella es Ma Ananda Sarita. Ella es la líder mundial en referente al mundo del Tantra. Ella fue discípula directa de Osho. Llegó con Osho cuando tenía 17 años y estuvo en su comunidad durante 26 años. Tiene una vida fascinante, llena de historias, de experiencias místicas, de una sabiduría brutal, realmente profunda. Yo me tardé mucho en encontrar una escuela de Tantra en la cual yo realmente comulgara con sus valores. Porque como saben, Tantra puede ser este espacio en donde con falta de integridad activa trauma y nomás sucede una retraumatización bastante destructiva. Cuando yo encontré a Ma Ananda Sarita y a su escuela Tantra Essence y vi cómo manejan estas enseñanzas, con qué nivel de integridad y de impecabilidad manejan todos los salones, los grupos, las clases, a mí fue algo que me permitió entregarme también en este estudio. Ma Ananda Sarita es la maestra que más encarnada en gozo y en placer por vivir, al menos yo he tenido. Así que me encanta que pueda traer a esta gran maestra a la comunidad cuántica a que nos enseñe qué rayos es el Tantra y cómo entonces tiene que ver con la sexualidad, con el amor de pareja, con el propósito de vida. Sarita ha enseñado Tantra por todo el mundo por más de 5 décadas. Y ella me enseñó que Tantra no es algo que lees, sino es algo que vives, es algo que experimentas. Son enseñanzas de cuerpo, del camino del embodiment y por supuesto también de la meditación. Para mí este episodio es profundamente personal. Gran parte de lo que hoy comparto con ustedes, desde la maestría del divino femenino, desde cómo habitar el cuerpo, desde la seguridad somática, desde el estudio de la energía sexual, mucho viene directamente de ella. Ahora, esta conversación será grabada en inglés porque es el idioma que Sarita habla, pero va a tener subtítulos para que la puedas disfrutar. Así que bienvenida a esta conversación con Ma Ananda Sarita. So welcome, my dear Sarita, my beloved teacher. I am so blessed, so happy, so honored to have you here in this space with my beloved community as well, with all of your wisdom. I was telling that if there's a teacher that has a major impact in my path, in my life, in the embodiment part, it's definitely you. So I am so happy to have you here to have a conversation.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored to be here. It's my first time in Mexico, and I'm very delighted to discover this amazing land.
Beautiful. So you shared with me so many personal stories from your childhood that I find them fascinating, like from your mom, from your brothers and sisters, to all the way how you got into Osho's community. Yeah. Could you share a little bit of how you end up in this path so young?
Okay, I'll tell you a story how it first happened. I was 4 years of age, and one of my older brothers, I come from a family of 7 brothers and sisters. So one of my elder brothers, he took me outside. He said, come, you have to see something. And we went outside and he showed me a huge cloud, which was in the shape of a mushroom. And he said, you see that mushroom cloud? That could bring death to everyone. And I was like shocked. What? Death? What? Cloud? Death? No, what? And he said, because there are people, very bad people, who are creating bombs in the shape of a mushroom cloud. And if that appears, it could kill everybody. And I said, kill everybody? You mean even my mom and dad? Yes. Even you? Yes. Even me? Yes. And he said, now it's just a cloud, but in future it could be a real bomb. So I was in such a shock. And it was something about this Cuban-American conflict that was going on at that time. That was in the late 1950s. So then I started contemplating, oh my God, but if there's not much time left, I have to achieve what I need to achieve in this life, this incarnation, even though I didn't know about past lives. But I was feeling a great intensity, and I just felt I need to find the essence of life as soon as possible. I cannot delay. And then I was contemplating, what could that essence be? And I had a sort of vague feeling it's something about love. that love is everywhere and we have to live by love. So then I was on that path, very powerfully on that path from the age of 4. I was always searching for it. I used to cruise through the universe, like in between sleeping and waking. I would be cruising in the universe trying to figure out how everything functions. What is the source of life? What is the essence of life? And then finally, at 9 years of age, I felt like I cannot wait anymore. This is really the limit, and I can't wait to grow up. I have to get it now. So I just went outside. I found a beautiful tree. I sat under the tree, and I said to myself, I'm not moving from this spot till I find the essence of life. And I was just sitting. I had that clear intention. I closed my eyes. And I found myself hurtling down a dark tunnel at supersonic speed. And then I landed somewhere which I knew to be the center of the universe. And there in the center of the universe was the sound Om. Now, I should mention that my family were atheist. I had no religious education whatsoever. I had never heard about the sound Om. I didn't know anything. I was just discovering on my own. Of course, I didn't think of it as Om. I knew this is the essence of all of life. It was a soundless sound, which was both a vibration and a sound, which was all encompassing. It was like a low humming sound. It filled every cell of my body. It brought me into total oneness with all that is, tremendous inner ecstasy. And then I determined this is it. So I have to live according to this, and I will be on the right path to live in the essence of life. And I was trying to figure out, is it music or is it movement? And then I realized, okay, sound is made of vibration. Vibration is movement. Therefore, the right path will be dance. That's all I could come up with at that time. So then I went on a trajectory deeply into dance, and eventually, following the dance, it brought me to Osho in India. So that's another whole story.
Yeah, but I mean, I know it pretty shortly, but you left around 16, right?
15.
15, you left home.
Yes, I left actually my family home at 12, and I left my hometown at 15. And I went hitchhiking all through North America. I went to New York. I studied dance. I got a job as an au pair. So I went very, very deeply into dance. And then at 16, I actually went to Europe. And then I hitchhiked all through Europe, all through the Middle East to India. And in India, first of all, I discovered with Goenka, the Vipassana meditation. I did a 10-day retreat in Bodh Gaya, which is the place where Buddha got enlightened.
With no meditation?
No meditation
at all
experience.
Before.
I just discovered meditation there. But then when I was doing the Vipassana meditation, I recognized that's actually what I was doing in my childhood without knowing it.
Yeah.
I was reconnecting with the same space.
Right.
So it was like a fish in water, basically. And then I heard Goenka's going to do a 1-month silent retreat in Mumbai. By that time, I was 17 years of age. So I went there, and the night before that 1-month retreat, I met Osho. Amazing, miracle.
Amazing.
And from that moment, basically, once I was initiated by Osho, I stayed in his community for 26 years.
That's amazing. Now, as a Mexican, and I know that all the Latin American women are thinking, how did your mom let you go? Like, or weren't you scared? Or like, how were you so young? You left at 12, but then at 17, you're already in a community. Were you scared?
Of course, I was very scared. So I learned, feel the fear and keep moving forward anyway. Because my passion to live according to the essence of life was more strong than my fear. This is basically it. I was risking everything for that.
For sure.
And of course, people told me, oh, first you should finish your education, then you should get married, you have children, you get a job, you have a house, and then once you retire, then you can do all these crazy things you're talking about, like going to India or whatever. And I replied to those people, first, I'm going to do what I want. And later on, if I have time, I can fulfill your list. But first things first.
You were determined from the very beginning.
Very determined.
So you got to Osho, and that's where you heard for the first time about Tantra?
Yes. I'll just backtrack a little because you asked me how my mother allowed me.
Oh, yeah.
My mother was a very unusual woman, very mystical. And when she was pregnant with me, this is what she told me not long before she died. So just 20 years ago, I heard this story. That when I was in her womb, she dreamed that she was carrying a butterfly. And when the birth happened, the butterfly took off and flew to the other side of the world and found paradise and invited her to come. So she said she always knew I would leave home very young. She knew that I would make it to the other side of the world. I would find paradise and invite her. So that's why she allowed me to go. And not only that, she made a notarized letter giving her blessing for me to travel. And that helped me get through different borders.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you invited us all to paradise, not
Yes.
only your mom. I've been there.
That's true.
Which
That's
is
true.
Terrific. Okay, so you go to Osho and you hear this Tantra word, or what is it, or path, and how that started to develop.
So the way it happened, I was in a backpackers hotel the day before going into the month-long Vipassana retreat. And there was a man and his girlfriend there. And they told me, we're going to meet a very interesting man tonight. Maybe you would like to join us. He's in an apartment here in Bombay. That was Bombay at that time. Now it's Mumbai. And so I said yes. I was always up for an adventure, especially if somebody warmly invited me. So then I just went with them. There was about 30 people sitting in an apartment living room. They were all dressed in orange. They were sitting in meditation. So I just sat down. Nobody explained anything to me. I had no idea what was going on. And suddenly Osho, at that time he was called Bhagwan, he floated into the room. It looked like that. His steps were so graceful. It literally looked like he was floating. He sat down very gracefully. He was wearing a white robe. And he began speaking on a sutra from the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. This is a 5,000-year-old scripture containing 112 methods of tantric meditation. And the sutra he was commenting on, I still remember it.
Wow.
It is, while engaged in sexual union, stay attentive on the fire in the beginning, and so continuing, avoid the embers in the end. He proceeded to give a 1.5-hour discourse on this sutra. I was blown away. I had never, ever heard sexuality described in such a way, such an exalted way, so refined, so divine. It immediately tickled all of my insides. Goosebumps everywhere.
Just now.
Yeah. And that was the beginning of my Tantra path, actually.
Wow.
When he was going out, he stopped in front of me and he looked into my eyes for a long time. And then he went into his bedroom. And the next morning, it was really auspicious that he was guiding a Shaktipat meditation. And there was just enough time for me to go to the Shaktipat before going into my 1-month Vipassana retreat.
Wow.
It was all lined up as if preordained. Like,
Of
it
course.
was incredible, actually. And so I took part in that Shaktipat, blew my mind 1,000 times over. And then I went with that energy into the silent Vipassana retreat.
I mean, what, like completely initiation, full on.
Full on.
Could not get a better treatment.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Now you said, and I'm glad that you bring up the sexuality part in Tantra, because, and we've talked about it so much, right? There's such a misunderstanding that Tantra is just sex, the tantric sex, the tantric massage, that it's only about that, and that creates like this observer that is fixed on it, and because of all of our conditioning around sexuality, then it sort of becomes like an internal obsession that this disturbs the mind. I can't want it. I can't speak it. I can't explore it. I can't talk about it. But there's a part of me that wants it because we come from that.
Yes.
I think Osho says that if sex is a sin, then God is the biggest sinner.
Exactly.
Because he made it.
Exactly. Tell me about it.
So,
but I'd like to backtrack a little around this subject of Tantra and sexuality. How did it come about that people associate Tantra with sex? It's a very weird idea because, in fact, Tantra covers every aspect of human life experience, bringing a witnessing consciousness to every life experience. So basically, it happened that the British were ruling India. And during the Victorian age, which was a time of great sexual uptightness in the British, tantric texts were being translated from Sanskrit by British scholars. And they were completely freaked out to see that there are some rituals where sex may be included. And because they were so sexually repressed and uptight, they dubbed Tantra the cult of sex. Now, in those days, for example, the Victorians, they thought if a woman's ankle showed, this was highly suggestive, over-sexualized, because if you see that there's two legs, two ankles, you have to imagine there's two legs, and those legs will go where? So their mind would go straight to the
yoni.
To the yoni from the ankles. So they covered the ankles. They also covered tables because tables have legs. So if you see the legs of the table, your mind might go to what is at the top of the legs. And so you can imagine tantric texts being translated in those days with that whole Christian repressive kind of mind. And they just dubbed it the cult of sex. And that label stuck till today. I find it really astonishing because if anybody starts delving into tantric text, they will see that sexuality is a very small portion. If you go into the Vigyan of Tantra, there are 112 methods of tantric meditation in there. Maybe 6 of them could be said to have something to do with sex. The other ones are about every aspect of human life experience, from eating, drinking, walking, sitting, feeling, emotions, senses, kundalini energy, chakra system, expanded states of consciousness. There's even meditation to do before sleep, as you're dropping into sleep, that you can touch samadhi space through this beautiful meditation. So it's completely ridiculous that it's dubbed the cult of sex.
Right. Only less than 5% have to do with that part of or sex, according to this text,
Yes.
which is Tantra. The Big and Wide of Tantra is the main book where Tantra comes from.
Yes.
Beautiful. It's crazy. But I think since now we live in a more free world that we get to question all of this and we get to decide and explore in a safe space, and I really took me a long time to find a mystery school, a tantric school that I wanted to learn. And when I found yours, I completely fell in love with the main value, which is integrity.
Integrity and meditation.
Integrity and meditation. But even in integrity into meditation, like everywhere. Integrity is such a big part of this school that it creates so much safety to explore and to actually go through all of these methods and studies and teachings. And another thing I learned from you is that Tantra, since it takes all of our humanity, it studies all of our humanity, it also transforms this poison into nectar. So all of our shadows, all of our stagnant emotions or shame around being human, not only sex or sexuality, but all of our humanity, so we can get free of that and become, or I guess my question is, what is Tantra really inviting us to become?
It's inviting us to become walking divinity.
I love that. Yeah.
I will just give the science behind Tantra so you really understand the progression of this science. Firstly, we are going to be working with our vital life force energy. That vital life force energy is also known as our earth energy. Kundalini Shakti. So this starts in the sacral area and it moves up through the chakra system, opening the different life principles or different life lessons in every chakra as it moves inward and upward, finally reaching to the state of superconsciousness. Now, when we are in that superconscious state, our central channel has been opened and we're ready to receive the descent of grace, the divinity that is just waiting to be embodied in us. So we receive that in and through our whole physical system to the point where we become walking divinity. The first part, the raising of Kundalini, the opening of the chakra system, takes dedicated sadhana practice. You need to really apply effort, meditative awareness, loving awareness into every experience of life. And through that, through your efforts, you will work through any stagnation that might be present. And that in turn opens the central channel. Now, the descent of the divine happens as a gift. It's not something you can do. You cannot manufacture that. All you can do is clear whatever is preventing your receptivity to this energy. And I will say it very bluntly. Unless you can say, God lives in my genitals, you have not yet arrived to the purpose of human life, which is to become that embodied divinity. It has to go all the way through your sex, into your legs, into your feet. Your every step on this earth needs to become divine. Then you have arrived to the purpose of human life.
Beautiful. And I also heard you saying that when we come to that, then we help nature to create more life, to become more.
Yes.
And if we look at nature now and how we treat our world, it looks like we're in the other way. Like we're maxifying, we're taking out of nature, we're taking, robbing, destroying our oceans or the forest, the trees, everything. So why are we so lost? Why we canceled God out of our genitals, out of our body, and we are so disconnected from nature?
I think it's a matter of control. It's something about control, because if you cut humans off from their sexuality, that means from their life force energy, they become very lost, ungrounded, not rooted in who they are, and then you can manipulate and control them very easily. So this takes us very far back in time when somebody must have figured out that this is the way to go in order to control humanity. And we need to uproot that false conditioning from our system and access a direct alignment with the divine. We are designed to be conduits for divine energy. All of us have that potential. And that leads us into a state of tremendous bliss. There's a wonderful scientist that I love to quote. Her name is Candace Pert. She wrote a book, Molecules of Emotion. In that book, she makes the statement, human beings are hardwired for bliss. And this is a very important statement coming from a scientist. She's studied into the human body. She studied the connection between mind, body, and emotions, finding out that this is one integrated wholeness. They all work synergistically together.
Beautiful.
So if she makes the statement, human beings are hardwired for bliss, we should sit up and take notice. So why are we not living blissful lives? What is preventing that? And find ways and means of coming in tune with our original template for bliss.
So we are destined, and our original template by default is to be in bliss, but we got disconnected, conditioning, cultural, all of it happening, karma, all of that. And our only job is to do our inner work,
Yes.
to clear all of that, not even seek enlightenment.
To come back home to who we already are. It's not about attaining something outside of ourselves. It's already within us. So we're just removing whatever is preventing us from living in our original template. This is the journey. It is, in a sense, a cleansing and healing journey.
I've heard you say that story of Osho saying, when someone asked him, how did you get enlightened? And he said, I dropped all of the voices that were not mine.
This is a really very important statement that he made. And with that, he also gives a technique. The method that Osho is giving to attain to this state is, he says, you can simply go within, you find what voice is there that doesn't belong to you. It could be any voice, and maybe you can do that through the body. Like you find a place of stagnation, you go inside of that area, you find a memory, you might find a voice, somebody telling you, you should be like this, you should be like that, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. So somebody's voice is conditioning you. Once you identify whose voice is that, you say, thank you for sharing, but this message is no longer serving me and you can go. And then you close your eyes and you witness from within if this person or persons are going. If they are still lurking around, you might have to speak in a louder tone. You might have to even shout and tell them, now go. So you need to do that to the point where they actually leave your body and leave your energetic space.
Beautiful.
Once you've done that, you check inside where that voice used to inhabit, and you align with what your true soul calling is. Maybe it's a special color, a message, a quality, and you bring that to fill that space that used to be inhabited by that voice that's not yours. And then from there, you can let that quality spread through your whole body. So the person who asked that question to Osho, they were saying, how did you become enlightened at such a young age? Because he became enlightened at the age of 21. So that was his answer. I simply asked all the voices which were not mine to go, and I was left with my pristine, original nature.
Wow. that alone, it's a method. Yeah, it's a technique. It's a tool that we can use.
It's very powerful.
It's very powerful. Yes, we've done it. And so I love your definition of what is the soulmate effect. Please tell us about this. Because Tantra, yes, it comes from this book, 112 Methods of Meditation. It also transforms poison into nectar, and it weaves these polarities from feminine to masculine, or love and meditation. I also once heard you say that when you merge love and meditation, the space that you get, that is Tantra.
Yes.
That is the aliveness. That is our essence and what we come from. But it's also very common that the ultimate path in Tantra, it's this sacred union or soulmate. Can we go over these concepts?
Yes, one of my favorite subjects. So first of all, there's a saying in Tantra that walking the path of Tantra as a couple is the fastest path to enlightenment, but it is like walking on a razor's edge. Any moment you can fall into the quagmire of emotions, of animal nature, of our instinctual nature, and get lost in there, not knowing how to continue the path.
So it's going to trigger you.
Of course, it triggers you to the max.
Yeah.
Because you're working with the instinctual nature, you're stirring the entire deep subconscious, all the ancestral memories and all the conditioning that might have been there around sexuality, etc. It's all going to come up to the surface. And now you have to deal with that. And that's two people going through that. So now how to help these two people to merge with all of their stuff that they need to work on and heal. And also, at one point, I heard a very, very beautiful discourse from Osho where he talked about the phenomena of the soulmate. So I'm just going to paraphrase what I remember. Of course, it's ideal if you can read that book. You can read that particular discourse and you get the full download. But basically what he's saying is that if you rely only on nature to find your soulmate, it may never happen. There's millions of people on the earth. You looking somewhere here and there for your soulmate. Who knows if you're ever going to find them. But if you rely on Tantra, it becomes easily possible. The methodology is that you open all the chakra system to the orgasmic potential of each of the chakras. The other person is also doing that work, and then you merge in all the 7 chakras. You will have the phenomena of the soulmate. Based on this discourse, I created the soulmate series of groups, which is 7 levels for couples. It takes 3.5 years. The couple is going on the journey towards their enlightenment together, step by step. It's a very, very powerful journey. I call it the journey of a lifetime. And it's been my path actually since the very beginning. When I first came to Osho, very soon after, he was working with me about Kundalini energy, opening the chakra system, opening my sexual potential, opening through meditation. And then after about 1.5 years, I met who would become my husband. And Osho guided us through our entire relationship. So within that process, I got to do incredible practices, tantric meditations that completely put me on a new trajectory in life. And that is basically the path of the soulmate. So from almost the very beginning when I came to him, I've been on that path.
Beautiful. And what is sacred union?
Sacred union is when you're aligning all that you are from sex to superconsciousness. And you're doing that in a meditation space, sacred meditation space. So typically the couple is practicing a series of tantric meditations in the bedroom. Through that, everything that you are goes into an awakening process. It takes time because you need to, as I said before, work through all these issues that might be there in your system, whether that's ancestral conditioning, issues around sexuality. Maybe people don't understand how to go into conscious communication, conscious emotional fluidity. All that has to be included on the path.
Of course. And I also came to realize that this sacred union, for you to experience it outside, you first have to live it within you.
Definitely.
So in union, in communion, your sex and your consciousness, so you can bring the light of awareness to all of the shadow, all of the animal instincts, the impulses, the memories, the stagnated emotions, the lack of vulnerability or openness or honesty. So whenever you have this inner union, then I guess I have a question now that it goes through levels, right? It keeps getting better, like deeper.
Yes.
You just
progressively.
It's progressive. Like you just don't come to unity and then that's it. Like
no, I call it rising in love. Usually we think of falling in love. Now, what does falling mean? It means you falling downwards into your instinctual nature. So this is what people normally think of as love, that we're bonding to our instinctual nature, we're going to procreate, we're going to have babies, etc. So this is the typical way, which is programmed by nature. There's nothing wrong with it. It's amazing. I'm all for it. And at the same time, we have another potential inside of us, which is called rising in love, where we invite our basic life force energy in and up into spiritual transformation. So this is the path. You keep on raising your consciousness, expanding your potential, finding ways of fusing the opposite polarities, masculine and feminine, fusing into oneness. And of course, if we bring 2 opposites together, in the middle of that meeting, you will find godliness. That's where godliness resides.
in the meeting of the opposites.
Yes.
Yeah. How can we be in peace with whatever it is, even though there could be opposites?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I've read, I don't remember where, but we misunderstood what the orgasm is or what it is for.
Yes.
So, yes, just pleasure, and pleasure can connect to our natural template of bliss. But orgasm can also be used or intentionally used for spiritual development. So how does that work? How does the orgasm makes us develop spiritually?
This is a really brilliant question. one thing that's very important to understand is that orgasm may also include genital release. And there's another possibility for orgasm, which is full body orgasm that doesn't necessarily include genital release. You can have a tremendously orgasmic experience without any genital release. So this is actually a revelation that this is possible. Now, people who have studied the human organism, the brain system, the orgasm center in the brain, how it's linked to the orgasm center in the genitals, and all of this research has brought an understanding of how the human body functions. We have within us a special drug. It's our own inner pharmacy of feel-good hormones. So one of those drugs is called DMT. DMT brings us into an experience of being at one with God. And this is an orgasmic, psychedelic experience. This potential lives inside of our brain. It can be released at the time of birth for both mother and child if it's a natural birth. There shouldn't be interventions in that birth. Then mother and child can tap into that experience. It also gets released at the time of death if it's a natural death, meaning without interventions. So the person can consciously go into their death. They will experience that DMT release. They will leave the body in an absolute ecstasy. It also gets released during full body orgasm. Full body orgasm. I'm specifying that because that's an important part of it. It also gets released in very deep meditation. And it gets released if you do darkness retreat. If you're in the darkness for more than 7 days, you will automatically get DMT release. It's something which is like death and orgasm together.
Yeah.
You letting go, complete let go, and at the same time, complete and total orgasm. So in essence, it's like the meeting of life and death.
And death, which is the ultimate polarity.
Yeah,
together.
ultimate polarity coming together and you see God.
Yes.
So this is the potential that resides in human beings, and there's always been a thirst to know that, but not everybody knows the way to access it. So we know when it happens. Now, how to access it at will, this is the science of Tantra. Tantra gives us the science of how to access this state. And that also leads us into the subject of drugs. Do we need outer drugs to go there, or can we rely on our inner pharmacy? One of the tenets of Tantra is you can arrive there just through tantric methods of meditation. You do not need the outer drugs. Now, sometimes the outer drug can be helpful just to give you a glimpse
of what exists,
of what
is
exists.
possible.
But you shouldn't continue there. You need to say, okay, now I know this exists. Now how can I attain it on my own from within my own inner pharmacy?
And I can totally be the evidence of that. 2 weeks into your first training, my alarm clock was my laugh. So I wake up laughing so hard just to be alive.
Yes.
I was just so happy to be alive. 2 weeks under the first training that I had with you.
Yes.
Now, one of the main teachings that really helped me understand what happened to me in my first tantric experience, and this just blew my mind. And it's so beautiful how you bring women and men together, that when a woman is in this orgasmic way for more than 20 minutes, that DMT release starts to happen. And the woman gets in this psychedelic realm. She starts singing or seeing figures or deities or receiving a lot of expression of art. And it gets very vulnerable for a woman to be in that space. So that's why we need a protector.
Yes.
That's why we need men to protect women in the spiritual, in the physical world. So women are the leaders in the spiritual realm, and men the leaders in the physical realm. So how is that? Like the woman, how do women get there? How can men support in that experience? And how can we take, and I know this is a long question, but how can we take a role of Me as a woman feminine, he as a masculine protective part.
Okay, so I'm going to elaborate on that because I think it's a very important question. Now, the way I like to see men and women is that man and woman together are one tree of life. The woman is like the inner part of the tree, which is vulnerable. It needs the protective bark in order to survive. So the masculine is like that protective bark, which helps the inner part of the tree to survive. The inner also nourishes the outer, and together they are the tree of life. One cannot exist without the other. Each have their gifts and attributes which make this a whole tree. Now, nature has made it in such a way that women, when we go into a full body orgasm, our rational brain completely shuts down for some seconds. Like it's not there. We are not there as a person. There's no persona, no personality. We are just one with all of life, with universal energy. The man, on the other hand, is designed in such a way that his rational brain does not fully shut down during orgasm. Probably because nature wants him to protect the woman. She's completely gone. He has to make sure there's no tiger coming, no dragon, no elephant to disturb the space. So he has to be always a little bit alert. It is possible for men to access the state that women do, but it takes training. Because normally the man's orgasm reaches only to the reptile brain. That means the very deep instinctual brain. It doesn't go to the higher brain centers. It's more rare for men to access DMT release during sex or during orgasm. However, Tantra has found that he can reach there. It just takes a little training. So what happens very naturally and easily for women is harder for men. The woman traditionally is the initiatrix on the Tantra path. And indeed, Osho has spoken about men's and women's roles on the spiritual path. He said on the spiritual path, there are only 2 steps. The first step is very easy for women, very difficult for men. That is the step of surrender. So the woman is the initiatrix for the man to experience surrender. Once he has experienced surrender, he's then ready to take the second step. The second step, as Osho said, is very easy for men, very, very difficult for women. So then the man becomes the initiator for the feminine in the second step on the spiritual path. And that is going into aloneness and void. Women hate that, literally hate it. There's a biological reason for that, which is that we have a womb. This womb is programmed to carry new life. We are programmed in ourselves to carry that new life, to give birth and to nurture that new life for 20 or so years. So we revolve around the other. Our whole psychology, physiology is programmed to revolve around the other, whether that be our beloved, whether that be our child. And you see women who don't have a beloved, don't have a child, they start revolving around a deity. Maybe it's an idol that they worship. Maybe it's a religious figure that they worship. Maybe a guru, saint, whatever it is. But she will always want to be in a state of devotion, love. And this is, in fact, the feminine path. It is devotion and love. Whereas the masculine path is more rooted around meditation and witnessing. Both of the paths are very valid, and they are distinctly opposite.
Right.
Now, when you bring these 2 opposites together, that is Tantra. So we honoring equally the masculine path and the feminine path. They come together, that will become the Tantra path.
Beautiful. Yeah. And what about tantric sex? What is tantric sex then?
Tantric sex is actually a science. It's a science of evolution of consciousness. So you are taking the sexual energy, you're weaving it together with witnessing and meditation and love and devotion. So these 3 strands are weaving together. that will make a whole tantric sacred sexuality experience.
Wow. So, and that we need a lot of awareness in whatever path, but awareness of sensation of what's arising on you, so you can express it without shutting down or projecting. Like we have, at least me, I had to like recover a lot of somatic safety because I was projecting like the lack of safety everywhere.
Yes.
And I was very destructive. I was creating a lot of chaos.
One thing you can do is learn emotional fluidity, conscious emotional fluidity. So there's many techniques for that. Osho has been a great contribution to humanity through his active meditation techniques, where emotions are also included in the meditation experience. This is a revolution, actually.
Yes.
It's amazing.
It is.
It's such a gift to humanity, because so many religions, people, they're very confused about emotions, and they think the only way to deal with them is to suppress them. But if you suppress them, they become poison inside of us. We need to find out how to release emotions consciously without dumping it on the other person.
Right.
So this is a huge contribution. It's a very important part of the tantric path also, that we explore emotions consciously. Also, exploring the senses. We need to equally be able to access all of our senses. That opens us in ways that maybe we could never have dreamed were possible.
Of course, yes.
So if you go into the senses with awareness, incredible miracles happen. So emotions and senses, very important. And then, of course, working with your basic life force energy and witnessing that in and up direction of that energy, unlocking any stagnation that might be there in your chakra system, learning the life lessons inherent in each chakra, and finally opening into superconscious states. And this is everybody's birthright.
Right. The emotional fluidity has been a game changer in my life, in my work, in everything. Because I find it it's a way to embody the integration. So we know that many of this consciousness and self-awareness and getting to know yourself requires integration. It's not a checklist that you do. It's not that you jump into one thing to another one. But to actually integrate, you have to come and sit down and feel. And the moment that you don't feel, then you're in your mind and you're not really you're not living what's alive in the chakras. So the emotional fluidity, and this I learned it also from you, like it's so important to practice it. If you want to if you want to more advanced techniques or more advanced moments, or even like awareness or different states of awareness in your relationship or in your work, or if you want more creativity, if you want more expression, if you want more possibilities, if
you want more abundance,
if you want more money, right? You have to come down and sit and feel everything that's alive in you, so it doesn't govern, like it doesn't control you, doesn't dominate you.
Yes.
So emotional fluidity has been.
You know, where I live in Bali, and in Bali there's a whole trend that you're in a party, you're in a club, whatever, somebody comes up to you and says, "Would you like me to activate your kundalini?"
Oh yeah, no.
Great pickup line, you know. So this is very dangerous. The reason is because you are awakening an energy which, if you have stagnated emotions, it will just go completely haywire. You need to first attain conscious emotional fluidity before you open the kundalini energy. This is a prerequisite.
Exactly.
And it should be taken very seriously. It's very unfortunate. It's become a kind of party trick. Oh, let me open your kundalini. No, that's not good. First, learn emotional fluidity. Then yes, you can definitely go into kundalini awakening, which will then take you into higher consciousness, inner ecstasy states.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Sarita, I could talk to you forever. But thank you so much for giving, for sharing all of your wisdom. I feel so blessed that to be part of your school and to be one of your students. You've marked such a difference in my life, and your teachings are so in integrity and so pure that I'm just very happy that a lot of people get to know you as well.
And
Thank
you
so much.
are a shining star a rising star with this work. So it really gives me a lot of joy to have this conversation. And I'd like to say blessings to everyone who is listening to this. I wish you tremendous joy and fulfillment on your tantric path.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pueden encontrar a Ma Ananda Sarita en su Instagram, que es Ma Ananda Sarita, o su página web, que también es Ma Ananda Sarita. Y de hecho, nos regaló una clasecita completamente gratis, que se la pedí con mucho amor para esta comunidad. Obviamente va a estar en inglés, porque ya solo habla inglés, pero también tiene subtítulos. ¿Qué les digo? A mí, de verdad, esta mujer fue de lo que más me ha ayudado en mi camino a poder integrar toda la información y también a sentirla en el cuerpo, y el trabajo del sistema nervioso me cambió la vida. Todos los links y toda la información la van a encontrar en la descripción de este episodio. Y si te gustó, por favor, échale un like, ponle una manita, ponle una campanita en YouTube y nos vemos en el próximo episodio.